Before we actually jump into those practice questions, I wanted to just quickly revise the laws that you've already learned so far. So you've learned 2 laws so far. The first law is your multiplication law. So if you have x, oh, there we go, x, come on. Sorry, guys. X to the power of 3 times x to the power of 2. What would that give me? What would I do in that situation? And what would my answer be? So this is looking at law 1 that you would have started with on Monday last week. Beautiful, x to the power of 5, 100%. Okay, so when our bases are the same, so here x is the same as x, our bases are the same, then we add our exponents. And the reason we add them is because if we wrote this out the long way, we would have 3 x's over here. So those 3 x's. Okay, and that would be multiplied by 2 x's over there. And so we would land up with 5 x's in total. Okay, so when we have bases that are the same, we keep the base the same and we add the exponents. That's law 1. Law 2 gets a little bit sneakier. Okay, so law 2 is when we're dealing with division. So let's start with a nice easy one to start. Let's say we had x to the power of 6. I think let's make it a 6. X to the power of 6 over x to the power of 4. What would that answer be?
Let's go, my people.
Beautiful. Sure, yes, 100%. X to the power of 2 is 100% right. Good. Okay, and again, it's because if we were to write this out the long way, we would have 6 x's chilling on the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we would have 4 x's chilling at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when we canceled them out, sorry guys, like the signal is not great and it's affecting things. Okay, when we cancel this out, you'll see that we are left with 2 just chilling at the top. Okay, so that's when it's nice and easy. What happens if it's mixed around? So what if I had x to the power of 2 at the top, and then at the bottom, I had x to the power of 4? What would happen in that situation? So now it's bigger at the bottom. This one was bigger at the top, and now it's bigger at the bottom. Don't like panic too much. Okay, Kwando, I don't hate that answer. I don't hate that answer. So I'm seeing people giving me an answer of x to the -2, because 2 minus 4 would give me -2. The problem with this is that we don't work in negative exponents. So whenever we have an answer that has a negative exponent, we want to make it positive. And when we make something positive, it actually moves down to the denominator. That's a concept that we don't really deal with until a little bit later in high school. So I'm not going to stress you out about it too much now, but I'm going to write this out the long way. So if I had 2 x's at the top and I had 4 x's at the bottom, all right, and those 2 canceled with those 2, you can see you've got 2 x's left, but they're not at the top, they're at the bottom. And so we would write that as 1 over x squared, because that's where they are bigger. So we can use the same mentality where we say 4 minus 2, but we have to look at where the exponent is bigger, and that's where our final answer is going to be. Okay. All right, with all of that in mind, we are going to give a question a go, and we're going to see how we can cope with it. So if you would like to take a screenshot of this, this is just a quick summary of the 2 laws that you've done last week. And And then we're going to jump to a question. Cool. Okay. Now, as you're working through this, so for those of you who are new, this might be the first time that you hear these three letters. I'm going to write it out very carefully what they mean. We are going to focus on S, N, V, signs. So if they are both the same, then our answer is going to be positive. And if they are different, then our answer is going to be negative. So signs is the first thing we care about. Next thing we care about is numbers. So the N stands for numbers. So in this case, we would look at that 3 and the 6 and we think, how can we simplify that 3 and the 6? And then the last thing is V, which stands for variables. So we can use SNV whenever we're wanting to work with algebra. It's just like a way of organizing our thoughts to make sure that we do each step and we don't forget anything. So break this up into the 3 steps. Look at your signs, then look at your numbers. And then for your variables, you need to look at the variables with each base. You need to look at your X's and then you need to look at your Y's. If you're feeling confident, I would love if we could have a volunteer who could try and talk us through this answer. Remember, you do not have to be 100% right. As long as you are trying, I am happy. Oh, and our cat has decided to join us. It would be sorry guys, it's Charlie. Okay, what a bang. Hello, Charlie. Have you got an answer for me or do you have a question?
No, ma'am. I have an answer.
Beautiful. Okay, can you talk me through it? Can we do it step by step? Let's first look at our signs. What would our answer be with our signs?
Ma'am, it will be a negative because a positive multiple to a negative is a negative.
Excellent. Good. So we've got a negative divided by a positive, which gives us a negative answer. Glorious. Okay. Now let's look at our numbers. So now we've got this 3/6. What is that going to become?
Is it going to be 2?
There is going to be a 2, but where would the 2 be? So if
At
you
the
would
bottom.
give, good. So it's going to simplify down to a half. So think about it as if you were given the question 3/6 and you were told to simplify that, it would simplify to 1/2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why that 2 is at the bottom. Oh, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, sorry guys. I'm hiccuping, sneezing all over the show tonight. Okay, now let's have a look at our X's. So where are my X's bigger at the moment?
At the bottom.
Good. Okay, so think about your answer and think about where it's going to be.
It's going to be -1.
So it would be -1, but remember, we don't want to deal with negative answers. And so instead of having the -1, we're going to say 3 minus 2. Yes. But because we start at the bottom, we're going to keep it at the bottom. Yeah, no, you're doing good, though. You're doing really, really good. Okay, now look at your Y's. Try and think of that same mentality that we've just used. What would my answer be for my Y's?
It will be 1. Meaning
Good,
it's just 1.
100%. Is that going to be at the top or is it going to be at the bottom?
At the bottom.
Good. Yes. Excellent. Good. Good. Nice job. For those of you who are here a little bit late, don't panic. We're looking at the law 1 and law 2 that you did last week, Monday and Wednesday. So we're just trying to work through the different stages of signs, numbers, and variables with a couple of questions before we learn our next one. Yes, you have got a test on Wednesday. Okay. Lelo, how can I help? Okay. No, I'm not Teacher Sam. I'm Teacher Jen. Teacher Sam just had some parent meetings tonight. She will be back with us on Wednesday. Okay. Cool. Nice job, guys. You're doing good. Let's give the next one a go. All right. So now we've got 2xy squared over 4xy. So we don't need to worry about our signs because they're both positive. So our answer is going to be positive. So you're going to be looking at your numbers and then looking at your variables. So look at your numbers and then your variables. Yeah, no, don't worry. She'll be back. She's just here. She's gone for the day. Yes. So regardless of when you start, you still give the test a go, but remember you can watch all the lessons from last week. They're all online, so you can sort of be up to date with everything that's happened.
Yes, guys, just remember the quiz is all about what you learned on Monday and what you learned on Wednesday. So you don't need to panic. What you learned today and what you learned on Wednesday, that's going to be on your quiz.
You'll be fine. Oh, Shumi, yes, I'm loving that one chilling there at the top. I'm loving the Y. I'm loving the 2. I'm loving everything about that answer. It is looking glorious. Take that question mark away and say it with confidence. Okay, Latish, I'm liking the Y, the X you need to be careful, and the 2 you need to be careful where it is. Teto, I like the 1/2 a lot. I like that there is a Y, but be careful about where the Y is. Yeah. Okay, let's kind of break this down in steps. Let's do it one step at a time. So if we look at our numbers, we've got 2/4. So that's going to simplify down to 1/2. So that's my numbers. So 2/4 becomes 1/2. Then we look at our variables. If we look at our x's, they cancel each other out. So we don't need to worry about our x's. When we look at our y's, we've got 2 y's at the top and we have got 1 y at the bottom, which means bigger at the top. So 2 minus 1 gives me 1 y. And you can write it with a 1. You don't have to. And that would be my final answer. So 1y/2. Those of you who got there, big well done. Those of you who didn't get there, try and see where you went wrong. I think a couple of people just have the y in the wrong place, and some people didn't cross out the x's. But overall, nice job. If you are feeling like lost about it though, please just pop your questions in the chat and Yolanda and I will try and answer as quickly as we can. You're doing good though.
Yep. Let's go, Kwande. I see Kwande is like, okay, I know this answer. Did you guys take screenshots? Are we all good? Kwande disappeared in like a minute after talking about him. I'm switching my camera off, ma'am. Done.
You were spied. So
Yeah.
the x and the denominator, the reason they crossed out is because they're the same as each other. It's the same as if I gave you a question like 5/5. 5 divided by 5 is just 1. So 1 times anything is just itself. So that's why if we have the same number, like if we have x/x, they cancel each other out and just become 1. If I had y/y, it would cancel each other out and become 1. So if we have the same number on both, we can just ignore them basically. So the only reason I crossed out the 1 because you don't need to have it, but you're welcome to put the 1 there. Not a problem at all. It would be wrong if you put the x's because then you're not showing that you understand that they would cancel each other out. So like if I had a question that was like 4y² / y², those y² are exactly the same. So they cancel each other out. So my answer is 4. So whenever it's exactly the same as each other on the top and the bottom, they cancel each other out. If you haven't done these laws yet, please don't panic. Remember that the videos are online and you can watch them from there. This is just sort of revising what you guys did from last week. Question 3 is quite sassy. Okay, so you need to be quite careful with it. You're looking at your variables, look at your x's and then look at your y's. But the most important thing about question 3 is like identifying where the exponents are bigger, because that's going to help you think where your answers are going to be. So we kind of have to combine the ideas we've learned in the previous questions when it comes to question 3. I'll be very, very stoked if we get some right answers for question 3. Let's see how we go. Oh my goodness, Teto, I could kiss you. That is freaking glorious. Yes.
Glad, Teto.
Yes. You guys are like little rainbows over here.
Geniuses. Well done, guys.
Yes. Pabalo, how can I help? Hello. Hello. I feel like I'm about to start singing that Adele song. Guys are smashing these answers. Really, really good. Okay, so let's have a look at our x's first. So we've got x to the 15 there and then x to the 19 there. So we're going to do our minus thing that we've been doing. So we're going to say 19 minus 15, but our x's were bigger at the bottom, which means they need to stay at the bottom. So 19 minus 15 is going to give us x to the power of 4. So we got that by saying 19 minus 15. That's how we got that. Okay. So x to the 4, chilling down there. Then we're going to look at our y's. Our y's, we've got y to the 22 and y to the 17. Y to the 22 is bigger than 17. So we're going to say 22 minus 17, and it's going to stay at the top. So we're going to say y to the power of 22 minus 17, which gives us to the power of 5. So we look at where it is bigger, and that's where it's going to stay. And then we take the other number, we subtract it from it. So this 5 came from saying 22 minus 17. And this 4 came from saying 19 minus 15 because of our law 2 that we learned on Wednesday. Awesome.
Screenshots, my people. I see Pabalo. Do you understand this one? I saw
Does it make some more
Pabalo's
sense?
hand was up. Anyone with a question? Y'all understand it, or Pabalo is back again?
Hello, Pabalo, how can I help?
Ma'am, I don't understand.
Okay, can you try and tell me where you're getting confused? Have we lost you again? Pabalo, can you do me a favor, sweetheart? Do you mind? Yeah, can you send a message to Yolanda and then
Yeah, and
she'll
then I
send
can
you a
help
direct
you.
message. She'll be able to help, I promise. Okay. Thanks, sweetheart. Okay, so we're going to quickly learn our next law. So these are the first 2 laws. We're going to learn our 3rd law today, which is our distributive law. And we're going to do a couple of examples and then we'll have a nice brain break and we'll do a few more questions. Okay. So for our distributive law, so for law 3, oh, goodness, I don't know why, like, oh my goodness, teacher Sam's going to get so cross if I lose her box. Oh no, we're going to have to just work around this, guys. Law 3, it's our distributive law. Law 3 is if we have a bracket and we have something that's chilling inside that bracket. So if I had like x squared and then it's to another power. So if I have a power to a power or an exponent to an exponent, we can multiply those two exponents together and we would get the answer x to the power of 6. So the laws that have already been done are the multiplication, multiplication with the same base, division with the same base, and now this is law 3, which is our distributive law. Okay. So all this is saying is that if we have a power that goes to another power, then we multiply the exponents. Let's have a look at it in a slightly different way. If I had y to the power of 3, z to the power of 4, and all of that was to the power of 2, who thinks they could tell me what my answer would be there? So if I had y to the power of 3, z to the power of 4, all to the power, all to the power of 2, what would that answer be? I'm going to draw something and that might help. Oh, yes, beautiful. Y to the power of 6, z to the power of 8. So we take that and we multiply it by both of those exponents. Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's try it in a slightly different way. Let's say I had 2 x to the power of 3, y to the power of 5, all to the power of 2. Who thinks they can tell me what that answer would be? Actually, before you tell me what you think that answer would be, what would the power be for my number 2 over here? Because at the moment it doesn't have power. So if a number or a letter doesn't have a power, what number would be there? If there's a number or a letter that has no power written, what number would be there? Exactly, Kwando, exactly. Okay, that one might help some of you. Yes, don't fall for the trap with that number, guys. Be careful with it. Good. So we're going to take that 2 and we're going to multiply it by all of those. So we're going to have 2 to the power of 2, x to the power of 6, y to the power of 10. And if you wanted to write that 2 to the power of 2 as 4, you could. That's not a problem. Nice job. Yeah, I've got 2 more different things to show you with this. Next one. What if I had something like this? Who thinks they can tell me my answer now? I want you to think very carefully about what's happening. Think about what's inside the bracket. Think about what's not inside the bracket. Oh, look at these answers.
Y'all are on nets tonight, guys.
Not falling for my traps. I like it.
Oh, God.
Good. So in this question, the -2 is not inside the bracket. So we're not going to take that power. We're going to keep it as a -2. Nothing happens to it. If you want to keep this bracket for the first step, you could. So that would be x to the power of 12, y to the power of 16. But we don't need to have that bracket because it just means multiply. So we can actually just write our answers -2 x to the 12, y to the 16. Yes. Okay, one last thing that we're going to go over, and then I think let's go to our brain break, and then we'll do some questions. Okay, what if I had negative what if I had just oh goodness, what if I just had a negative and then I had x to the power of 5, y to the power of 10, all to the power of 2? Who thinks they can solve that one? Oh, I see hands are like popping up and then disappearing. I'm guessing it's because of the network. I think but I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah, I also saw it and I've chatted to her on the chat, but she didn't respond yet.
Okay.
So there we go again. It's Paba. Pabalo. Is that a hand for a question? Okay. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, I'm loving some of these answers. So guys, yes, absolutely. The x10, y to the 20. Those of you who got that, super great. The only place that some of you have fallen for the trap is that you have said negative. Now, I want you to think very carefully, okay? That negative is being squared. There are two negatives. If there are two negatives, that's a negative times a negative, and two negatives together become a positive. If you're feeling uncertain, you can write it out. So you can say negative x to the 5, y to the 10 times negative x to the 5, y to the 10. And then you'll be able to see those two negatives would become a positive. So that was the only trick in this question. So just be careful if there's a negative sign and you're squaring that bracket, it's going to become a positive. Let's try Sisipo. Let's give you a go. Do you have a question for me, my love? Okay. Guys, please take a screenshot of this. It's going to help you a lot in the questions as we work through them just now. And then I think let's quickly go to our brain break. So while I'm scrolling down for your brain break, give yourselves a stretch. Maybe jump up from your chairs, do a few jumping jacks, come back, get your brain working.
Guys, you guys have worked quite a lot.
Yeah, your brains are being
Nice.
super busy. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to take a screenshot and then let's jump to our brain break. It is a negative and then in the bracket a negative, Sisipo, I'm going to be giving you a question which is like that. So when you get to that question, you'll see what's going on. But I really like that that's where your brain went. It's good. Brain break isn't long. It's just, you're just going to answer, like, there's like a little question for you to try and then a joke, if you can solve it. We've got a joke from Teacher Sam. So we are trying to figure out what this little question mark situation is. So if you can figure out what that question mark is, tell me what it is. And we can have a look at our joke from Teacher Sam. Yes, I'm liking that so far. Your flower is definitely full.
We can do this, guys. We really need to see that joke. We must see the joke. Let's go, my people. We can do this. I see Voodoo is like, I'm so concentrated, ma'am. I'll get this.
Good. Good.
Ibu,
Just try
don't
and break it
panic.
up step by step.
Yeah.
Leaves 72. Okay, so just be careful. So these flowers over here would be 8, and that would be 8. So this is something times 8 plus 8 has to give me 88. Yes, Tito, you're 100% right. Nice. Good. Yes, our bamboo over here is going to be 10, which means this bamboo is going to be 5. Sorry, guys, my cat is back. So that means that this flower is 7. So 7 times 5 is 35, and 35 plus 5 is 40, which means that this flower is 14. And so our final answer is 100%, 74. Nice job. Okay, let's have a look at our joke from Teacher Sam before we start jumping into some examples. Yeah, he did that so fast. He did it so fast. Nice job, Teto. Okay, our joke from Teacher Sam today is, which subject does Al excel at? Algebra. Don't blame me for the jokes. It's a classic dad joke though, guys. It's classic. Yeah. That's what makes it funny. Okay, let's jump into some questions. All right, this one should be super, super, super easy. You should be able to get this one in like 10 seconds. Sorry, my cat is like very invested in this lesson now. Oh gosh, Charlie. Okay, let's see if you can solve this for me. Chantal, I love it. You didn't fall for my trap. The Tesh, Teto, Chipo, yes. Oh gosh. Okay. I think he might be hungry. I don't know what's going on with this cat situation. I'm feeling like he's very much in my bubble. Okay.
I saw that. He's so cute.
Yeah. Yes, these answers are 100% right though. 2 to the power of 6. Beautiful. So we take the 3, we multiply it by that 2, and we say 2 to the power of 6. Beautiful. Yes, Takalani, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, so I wanted to ask for this rule, ma'am, we just times the exponents by itself.
You times the exponents by each other. So whatever the exponent is, so like here is a 3, you times that 3 by the exponent 2.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For the question in the chat, no, this is a boy. Okay. Nice, good. You can give that as your final answer. When you're dealing with exponents, you don't have to give it as whole numbers. It's beautiful. Let's give B a try. So B, I want you to think carefully. It's something we dealt with when we started speaking about this, so it should also not be too bad. So think about when we spoke about how to do distribution. Yeah. Yes, guys. Oh, careful. Be careful, careful, careful. Just this -3 over here, he's not inside the brackets, so nothing is happening to it. Just chilling on the outside. Just chilling on the outside, and then we're going to take that 2 times that 3, and we're going to make that x to the power of 6. Glorious, guys. Smashing this. Awesome. Okay. Okay. C, again, don't fall for the trap. We have dealt with something similar to this. I want you to think about what number would be there. There is no number. Think about this sign. Don't fall for the trap and tell me what my answer is. Careful, careful. Some people are getting the right answer, but I'm seeing lots of wrong answers here. When in doubt, write it out. That might make some of you change some of your answers. Here we go. Okay, so first thing we have to take into account is that we've got this negative sign, and the negative sign is being squared. And when we have 2 negative signs, it becomes a positive. So my final answer is going to be a positive answer. If there is a number that doesn't have an exponent, we can give it an exponent of 1. So we're saying 2 times 1. So we're going to have 2 to the power of 2. And we're going to have x to the power of 8. You don't need to write it like this. You could write it as 2 squared x to the 8, or you could write that as 4x to the 8. Both of those would be 100% fine. If you are struggling with this idea of a negative being squared, then write it out the long way and just do your normal multiplication, and it'll be easier to see what to do. It's never shameful to write it out the long way. Yeah, it's a very normal mistake, very normal mistake. That's why it's good to make these mistakes together with just us, though, because now you'll know not to make them later on. Okay, D is kind of combining a few of these concepts together. So D, I think Sitsipo, I think you were the one who was asking about this. You'll be able to see a question like this now. We'll talk about what you asked earlier. But I'd love you all to give D a try. So D, you have to think about the logic you used in B and the logic you used in C. Surprisingly, you're just a brain box. That's a good thing. Yeah, I can scroll to B. It's just going to be a bit small. Hey. So you did really good here, guys. Your -4, 100%, you're going to keep it out. He's not going to get involved because it's not on the brackets. Inside this bracket, we've got a negative sign that is being squared, which means it is going to become positive. Okay, you don't need to write a positive sign. I'm writing a positive sign so that you are like very aware of what it would be. Then we have the 2 and the 3, so we're going to say b to the power of 6. Okay, these are just being multiplied together, so we have a negative times a positive, which is going to give us a negative. So we're going to have -4b to the power of 6. Now, a slight sort of difference from this question, if I had -4 and then negative, let's keep it the same mostly. So let's say -b to the power of 3 to the power of 3. So not to the power of 2. That means that I now, instead of having 2 negative signs, I have 3 negative signs. So what is that going to mean for us when it comes to our answer? What is that going to mean? Yes, our answer is going to be negative. And the reason it's going to be negative is because 3 negatives make a negative sign, because we'd have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and then a positive times a negative, which is a negative. So the difference here is that this would be -4, negative b to the power of 9, because now we're saying 3 times 3. And then a negative and a negative is going to give us a positive answer. So that's just like a different way. Obviously, it's a totally different question, but just something to be aware of. So if that power is even, your answer is going to be positive, and if your power is odd, like 3, then that answer would be negative. You guys are doing really well, though. Take a screenshot of this if you would like. And I think we can, everyone should be able to do E in their sleep now. Sorry, I'll scroll out so that you, there you go. And should be able to do E very nice and easy now. Blondie, it's okay, don't panic. Remember, all the lessons are online, you can watch them. Yeah, exactly. Nice, easy answer, x to the power of 35. 100%. You can do a screenshot now. I've got D up on the board. Nice job, guys. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. We're gonna do a couple more questions, and I've got a few more minutes to you before I need to let you go to do the poll. So let's try each of these. Okay, so the first one, I'm just going to help you out a little bit, just because the first one I want you to do completely alone. So there isn't a number there, so I would put a 1, and there isn't a number there, so I would put a 1. That's my helping hand for A, but I'm not going to help you as we move through this. When you have an answer, let me know. Tell me what your answer for A is. Oh, K2 is like on like maths super mode tonight. Just smashing these answers out. Yes, guys, not falling for my traps, you little brain bugs. If you've written it as 2 squared or if you've written it as 4, I'm happy. Both are great answers. Good. So 2 to the power of 2, x to the power of 4, y to the power of 2, or you could have written it as 4, x to the power of 4, y to the power of 2. Happy dance. Nice job, guys. I'm feeling like confidence as your answers are portraying. I'm seeing confidence, and I'm hoping that's internalized as well. Okay, don't fall for the trap in B. Anyone care about the end before Teto this time? I see it. I see you. I see you. Yes, guys. Good. Good. So we can see a negative being squared is going to become a positive. So we can just deal with our numbers. So that's going to become x to the power of 4, y to the power of 6. Glorious. Oh, now we're getting into some sneaky ground here. Very curious to see how people deal with C. Tell me what your answers are. Okay. We've got 2 different answers coming in so far. Yes, guys, beautiful. So in this case, the only difference is instead of going to each thing, we're just going to go to the A on the top, and then we're going to go to the B on the bottom. So we literally are just going to say, okay, cool. That's going to be like that. So we would say A squared over B squared. Done. And like, it doesn't have to get any more stressful than that. You literally are just putting that power on each of those letters. Okay, D. I'm so proud of you all. You're all doing so, so well. Again, for D, I'll accept 2 answers. Oh, someone's fallen for my trap. And another one has fallen for my trap. So many of you are in my trap hole together now. We're just having a party down there. Remember, when a number or a letter does not have an exponent, we have to give it an exponent of 1. We cannot forget it. So that 5 has to go to each of those. It's going to be 2 to the power of 5, x to the power of 50, y to the power of 40. Or, oh, that's a terrible R. 2 to the power, oh, 32. Yes, that's right. 8, 16, 32. Yep. X to the power of 50, y to the power of 40. Don't forget that first part, guys. It's the sneaky sneak. It's trying to trap you. Yeah. I think we can, I know our time is running out, but I think we can sneak in one sneaky last question before you have to do poll. So let's do sneaky question E, and then we'll call it a night. So the 32 comes from this. So that's saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which gives us 32. Okay, let's give E one last go, and then I'm gonna have to leave you guys to do your poll. But let's see if we can get any answers coming in for E. Don't fall for the trap. Tato, you're in my trap. Shumi's not in my trap. Chipo's not in my trap. Trap here was that it's not to an even power, it's to an odd power. There are 3 negatives. There are 3 negatives, and 3 negatives would give us an answer of a negative. So that would be negative A to the power of 36, B to the power of 9, C to the power of 39. Well done to those of you who didn't fall for my trap. If you did fall for my trap, don't fall for it again. It's been glorious having you guys.